want you out. Every dip, every piece of fear-driven news, every sudden crash in the market, it's not random. It's engineered, a strategy that's been repeated in every major wealth transfer in history. It's a system designed to separate retail holders, the everyday investor, from their assets before the real value explosion begins. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. Think about it. Why is it that just before a breakout, the media suddenly floods the market with negative headlines? Why do prices tank overnight just as adoption news and institutional partnerships quietly stack in the background? Because the playbook is simple. Shake you out so they can load up. If you're holding XRP, HBAR, XLM, SUI, or any other project with massive long-term utility, this is not the time to panic. It's the time to zoom out, to understand the bigger picture. The real winners in crypto aren't the ones who sold at every dip. They're the ones who recognized the game being played, held their conviction, and positioned themselves for the shift that's coming. Here's the reality. Markets move in cycles, but opportunities like this don't come twice. Every shakeout is an opportunity for the patient and informed to strengthen their position while others give up. So ask yourself, will you be part of the group that gets shaken out or the group that sees through the noise and stays strong? If you believe in the future of XRP, HBAR, XLM, SUI, and the broader blockchain revolution, then now is the time to double down on your knowledge, sharpen your conviction, and prepare for what's ahead. Stay with me through this video because I'm going to break down exactly how these shakeouts are orchestrated, why they happen before every major run, and how you can protect yourself from falling into their trap. The strategy behind the shakeout. They want you out. Make no mistake about it. Every dip you see on the charts, every sudden red candle that wipes billions in minutes, every negative headline splashed across mainstream media, it's not just coincidence, it's a strategy. A carefully designed system executed by the big players, hedge funds, institutions, and market makers whose single goal is to shake retail investors out of their positions. Big money plays differently. While everyday investors panic at the sight of red, institutions thrive on it. Volatility isn't their enemy, it's their weapon. Fear is the most effective tool for transferring wealth. And history has proven this again and again, from the stock market to commodities like gold and silver, and now in crypto. The playbook has never changed. Create panic, force weak hands to sell, and quietly accumulate what those sellers leave behind. Think about it. When prices crash hard and fast, who usually sells first? It's not the insiders, it's not the institutions, it's the average person. Someone who reads the news, sees their portfolio shrink and thinks, maybe they were right, maybe this really is the end. But that's exactly the moment the institutions are waiting for, because the second you sell in fear, they're there on the other side of the trade, buying in bulk at a discount. This cycle has repeated across every major correction in financial history. Look at any chart long enough and the pattern becomes clear. The crash isn't the end, it's the setup. After every sharp correction comes an accumulation phase where smart money quietly positions itself before the next surge. What's happening now with XRP, HBAR, XLM, and SUI is no different. The shakeout is not about destroying these projects. It's about transferring wealth from those who can't handle the pressure to those who can. And here's the part most people overlook. It's no coincidence that projects like XRP, HBAR, XLM, and SUI are always the ones targeted hardest. Why do they get hit with the most FUD, the most regulatory scrutiny, the most sudden dumps? Because these are not meme coins or pump and dumps. These are projects with real-world utility designed to disrupt trillion-dollar industries, global payments, cross-border settlements, tokenization, enterprise smart contracts. The powers that be know they can't stop the technology, but they can weaken your conviction long enough to make you hand over your share of the future. So the next time you see a crash, the next time you hear the media shouting that crypto is dead, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, who benefits if I sell right now? Because the answer is always the same. It isn't you, it's them. Why XRP, HBAR, XLM, and SUI are targets. Ask yourself this, why do we keep seeing the same names in headlines whenever fear, uncertainty, and doubt sweep through the crypto market? Why is it that projects like XRP, HBAR, XLM, and even newer ones like SUI get pulled into controversy, lawsuits, regulatory noise, and endless speculation? It's not an accident. It's because these assets represent real infrastructure. Not hype, not empty promises, not just another trending meme coin. They are laying the foundation for how money, data, and value will move in the next era of global finance. Let's break this down. XRP is not just another token. It's designed to solve one of the biggest inefficiencies in finance, cross-border payments. Today, sending money across borders is slow, expensive, and outdated, relying on systems like SWIFT that are decades old. XRP offers a faster, cheaper, and more scalable solution, and if fully adopted, it could threaten entire legacy banking rails. Do you really think the banks and middlemen who profit from inefficiency are going to clap and step aside? Of course not. They fight back by creating legal battles and fear-driven headlines. HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, focuses on enterprise-grade solutions. This isn't a for-fun project. It's backed by major corporations like Google, IBM, Boeing, and more on its governing council. The technology is built for speed, low fees, and stability. Exactly the kind of system that governments and businesses could actually use at scale. If HBAR succeeds, it could displace existing tech monopolies, centralized databases, and even government systems. That level of disruption is bound to attract resistance, scrutiny, and manipulation. XLM, Stellar Lumens, is built around financial inclusion. Its mission is to provide affordable, efficient financial services to the unbanked and underbanked people around the world who don't have easy access to banking. Do you realize how threatening that is to current financial power structures? Billions of people gaining financial access without going through traditional banks would completely change the balance of power. No wonder Stellar gets hit with waves of negativity whenever adoption discussions rise. SUI, one of the newer players, brings speed and scalability like we've rarely seen before. Built by former Meta engineers, it's designed for Web3 applications that can serve millions of users seamlessly. This kind of infrastructure challenges the narrative that blockchains can't scale. And every time an innovation threatens to prove the skeptics wrong, you see more pushback in the form of FUD. Now here's the deeper truth. The more disruptive a project is, the more resistance it faces. That resistance comes in many forms. Regulators who drag their feet, creating uncertainty and lawsuits that stall progress, media narratives that paint these projects as dangerous, unproven, or even scams, while conveniently overlooking the corruption and failures of traditional finance, market manipulators who intentionally crash prices, spread fear, and shake weak hands out of their positions so they can quietly accumulate at a discount. This is why XRP, HBAR, XLM, and SUI are targeted more aggressively. They are not threats because they are weak. They are threats because they are strong, because they have real-world utility, strong backing, and the potential to transform how finance and technology work at a global level. And that's exactly why holders of these assets need to understand the game being played. The resistance isn't a sign to run. It's actually proof of the value and potential that these assets carry. History doesn't just repeat itself, it rhymes. Especially in the world of high-stakes investing, the story of every major asset, from a company to a cryptocurrency, follows a similar script, a cycle of panic and doubt followed by a period of quiet resurgence. This is the historical pattern of fear versus reward, and understanding it is key to navigating today's volatile markets. The anatomy of a market shakeout. A market shakeout isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a necessary, often brutal process that cleanses the market of speculation and weak conviction. Consider the events of 2017. Bitcoin, the original cryptocurrency, had a spectacular run that captivated the world. But in December of that year, the price plunged by nearly 40% in a single week. The media declared it dead. Analysts called it a bubble, and new investors panicked, selling off their holdings at a massive loss. The fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, were at a fever pitch. Yet those who held on, who saw beyond the immediate chaos and into the long-term potential, were rewarded immensely. The so-called crash was a cleansing of weak hands that paved the way for Bitcoin to not only recover, but to reach new all-time highs in the years that followed. This same pattern has played out with countless other digital assets. In 2020, XRP, Ripple, was hit with a major lawsuit from the SEC. The headlines were brutal, and many believed the project was doomed. Analysts wrote it off, exchanges delisted it, and investors fled. The FUD was palpable, but what did the fear miss? The underlying technology and the company's commitment to building a better financial system. XRP weathered the storm. The project's development continued, its community remained resilient, and it eventually began to rebuild, emerging today with a stronger foundation and a more defined path forward. Similarly, Hedera HBAR and Stellar Lumen's XLM have gone through their own cycles of doubt and resurgence. Each time, a period of steep decline or negative news creates a moment of maximum pessimism. In that moment, it feels like the end. The noise is deafening and every instinct screams to sell and cut your losses. Yet in retrospect, these moments of maximum pain were the ultimate setup. They were a test of discipline, a filter that separated the emotional traders from the patient long-term investors. The discipline of a long-term investor. The investors who held through the pain, who ignored the market's emotional gyrations, and who stuck to their long-term conviction were the ones who reaped the rewards that the fearful never saw. They understood that every major pullback, every catastrophic-looking event was a necessary part of the growth cycle. They knew that the headlines, the social media chatter, and the panicked selling were all temporary distractions from a bigger, more important truth. True innovation and valuable technology tend to survive, rebuild, and come back stronger. This is the pattern repeating itself right now. The question you have to ask yourself isn't about what the market is doing today, but what the asset you've invested in is building for tomorrow. The choice is simple. Will you be guided by the fleeting emotion of fear or the enduring conviction of reward? In the volatile world of crypto, the most common and damaging mistake is allowing fear to take the wheel. The market is designed to test your resolve, to shake out the weak, and to create a chasm between those who react emotionally and those who act strategically. For those who believe in the long-term potential of assets like XRP, HBAR, XLM, and SUI, the current environment isn't a crisis. It's an opportunity. The key to surviving and thriving in a market downturn is to shift your focus from the fleeting noise of price charts to the underlying fundamental value of the technology. The truth is in the fundamentals, not the headlines. The worst thing a holder can do now is to let short-term fear dictate their actions. The headlines scream about market drops and crypto winter, but these are temporary narratives. The real story is found in the foundational metrics that truly matter. For a long-term holder, this is the time to zoom out and conduct a deep dive into the projects you've invested in. Adoption metrics. Are more people and institutions using the network? Look for metrics like active addresses, transaction volume, and the number of accounts created. For instance, XRP's use in cross-border payments, XBAR's partnerships with major enterprises, and XLM's focus on financial inclusion in developing nations are all real-world indicators of growing utility. SUI's focus on decentralized applications and real-time experiences is another example of a project building for the future. These are the metrics that will drive long-term value, not daily price fluctuations. Partnerships and institutional interest. Pay attention to who is partnering with these projects. When major corporations, financial institutions, or even governments are exploring or integrating a specific technology, it signals a strong vote of confidence. XRP's collaboration with financial institutions and even central banks, Hedera's governing council of global enterprises, and Stellar's work with various payment providers demonstrate a move from speculative assets to essential infrastructure. This institutional adoption is the ultimate long-term catalyst. The real-world use cases. The true measure of a blockchain is its utility. Is it just a token for speculation, or is it solving a real-world problem? XRP's role as a bridge currency for international payments, HBAR's use in enterprise solutions like supply chain management and identity verification, and XLM's ability to facilitate low-cost remittances are tangible use cases that generate real demand. Similarly, SUI is building a robust ecosystem for gaming, social platforms, and other high-throughput applications that require its unique architecture. A test of conviction and a generational opportunity. This market shakeout is a deliberate test of conviction. It is designed to separate the curious onlookers from the true believers. If you're still here, holding strong despite the fear, you've already demonstrated a level of discipline that puts you ahead of the majority. The average investor panics and sells at the bottom, locking in losses and missing the inevitable rebound. The savvy investor sees a discount, a chance to accumulate more of a valuable asset at a lower price. The generational opportunity isn't in a quick flip or a day trade. It's in the quiet, patient accumulation of assets that are poised to become the backbone of the next financial and digital revolution. It's about understanding that the journey will be bumpy, filled with moments of doubt and chaos, but that the ultimate destination is worth the wait. The key is to have a plan and to stick to it. Whether it's through dollar cost averaging, DCA, or simply holding, patience, discipline, and the ability to see beyond the short-term chaos are the most powerful tools in your arsenal. So remember this warning, they want to shake you out. XRP, HBAR, XLM, SUI, and more is not just a title, it's the reality of what's happening. The market is engineered to break the weak, but the strong hands, the ones who hold with vision and clarity, will be the ones rewarded when the dust settles. Don't let fear steal your future. Don't let them shake you out. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay in the game, because the greatest transfer of wealth is happening right now, and it's only those who endure that will benefit. But what comes next? We've talked about the what, but what about the how? The most important piece of this puzzle is the quiet revolution of real-world asset tokenization on networks like HBAR and XRP. This is the narrative that no one is talking about yet, and it will be the real engine of the next bull run. To truly understand the full scope of this and how it directly impacts your portfolio, you need to watch our next video where we break down the one secret partnership that ties this all together and gives these assets an unstoppable advantage. Click the link on the screen right now to continue your journey. Don't just watch the future, own it.